Hey guys, Michael from Copper vs Glass, and today we're going to be looking at Fallout Shelter, but just before I actually start going over the actual game itself, I just want to get you guys to understand just how big this game has become in roughly the month that it's been out. There's been 85 million vaults created, 81 million babies born, 29 million hours played, 1 billion sessions played, 46 million dwellers exploring the wasteland, with 20 million of those dying in the wasteland, 119 million fires started, 118 million radroach infections, and 41 million raider attacks. Now this is huge for a game that's only been out a month, and it kind of goes to show that Fallout is a huge game that a lot of people want to play, whether it's on the Xbox 360, the Xbox One with the newest Fallout 4, or here on mobile, which is available on both iOS and Android, and that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. We're going to start looking at Fallout Shelter here on my HTC One. As I mentioned before, this game is available free of charge on both Android and iOS. Now this isn't going to be your typical game review that we've done here on Copper vs Glass in the past. This is going to be more of a tips and tricks to get the best out of the actual game itself, as it can be quite challenging at times. Now when you first actually load up the game, you actually need to create yourself a vault to actually start the game in. So all you need to do is click on Enter Vault, and then you've got 3 different save files. Now all of these save files can be used up in the future if needs be, but all you really need to do is create an actual vault itself. Now the great thing about this is you can have a unique number. It's only 3 digits, so unfortunately you can't do, for instance, the date you were born, your PIN number for your bank card, or anything like that. It does have to be a completely random number. The one that I've got on my iPhone, which is my primary game, I've actually got as Vault 261, which is 26th of January, which is for my birthday. Now as you can see, the actual vault number that you choose goes into the game itself, which is definitely a nice touch. Now you need to go through a very short tutorial process in terms of how to actually use the game itself, and just to get to grips with some of the things that you actually need to do within the world itself. Now like I say, there is quite a lot that you need to get used to and a lot of things that you need to learn, but as I mentioned in this video, I'm going to be giving you my tips and tricks to getting the most out of the actual game itself. So once you've gone through the very short tutorial, you're pretty much left to your own devices, and this is where the game really starts to pick up and you really get to enjoy the game for what it is. Now what I'm going to do is switch over to my iPhone 6, which is my primary game of Fallout Shelter, just to give you guys my tips and tricks to getting the most out of the game itself. So, let's take a look. Okay guys, so the first tip that I have is triple rooms. Now what I mean by that is you want to build as many rooms next to each other of the same variety on the same level to produce a triple room. If you just have one room that produces food, you're going to get maybe around 5 in terms of the food, whereas if you've got a double room or a triple room, it's more like going to be 15 or 25 in terms of the food. So just because you've got 2 rooms next to each other doesn't double the productivity, it actually does it to nearly 3 times as much. So what you want to try and do is get as many rooms as a triple room as you can, and simply all you need to do is just place the same sorts of rooms next to each other and they will automatically merge. So the next thing you want to do, and tip 2, is to put your dweller in the right room for their characteristics. Now basically the actual dwellers themselves have 6 or 7 different things that they can be good at, whether that's charisma, strength, agility, perception or endurance and so on, and basically they have numbers. The higher the number, the better they are at that, and you want to put them in specific rooms. So if someone's got very high intelligence, you want to put them in something like a med bay, as what that's going to allow them to do is actually produce things quicker, and again if someone's got high agility, then again you want to put them in the diner. Now it's not always that straightforward because some people have pretty even stats across the board, but that's where suits come into it. You actually collect suits throughout the game from going exploring or from getting lunch boxes, and what that then allows you to do is equip a suit to a specific character to actually raise some of their attributes up so that they're actually a bit more useful in specific situations. So that's definitely something that you really need to do in terms of productivity, is put people in the correct room so that you can get resources a lot more quickly. Tip 3 is to send your dwellers out to explore. Fallout has a massive universe that isn't just confined to your vault, however you don't actually go and explore that yourself. What you need to do is drag one of your characters to the outside section outside the vault itself and send them off to explore. They want to make sure they've got a lot of health with them, a good uniform in terms of some of the stats, and also a weapon handy, as in the field they can die quite easily, which isn't necessarily the best thing. The great thing about exploring is they do bring back a lot of things, whether that's uniforms, caps, weapons, or just in general any resources for the actual vault itself. Now keep in mind that if you send somebody out for an hour and then you go to recall them, it is going to take them an hour to get back. So basically all they do is walk in the same direction for a certain period of time, and then when you recall them back to the vault, it is going to take the exact same period of time for them to get back. So do keep that in mind. If you've got someone out exploring for 6 hours, unfortunately you're going to have to wait 6 hours for them to come back, but with a journey like that, they're going to have a lot of cool things with them that are going to be really handy for your vault. Tip number 4 is to rush rooms. Now basically once you click on a specific room, you've got the ability to rush the room, which basically means that production is going to happen a lot quicker. Now keep in mind that the higher the percentage rate, the more likelihood something is going to go wrong, like a radroach infestation or a fire breaking out in that specific room. One thing that I would say though is pretty much anything under 30% is always successful. Maybe the odd 1 or 2, I'd say it's maybe about 9 out of 10 times it is successful if the percentage rate is under 30%. Now one thing that I've also realised is if you've got something with a bad percentage rate and you click on it and the room fails, and for instance you do get a fire, they'll put it out, you don't really have to worry about it too much, your dwellers know what to do with the fire extinguisher, and also if there are any rad roaches then again they will stamp on them, or if they've got weapons they will shoot them. Now once the room has failed, if you then try and rush that room again 99% of the time it's going to then succeed a second time round with a higher percentage for danger, which means you're actually going to get more in terms of resources. So one thing that I would say is equip a lot of your dwellers with weapons so that you can maybe screw up every now and then, but then you are going to reap the rewards once you rush the room for a second time. Tip number 5 and the last tip is something that a lot of people may forget, and that's basically the little things. Now keep in mind that you are in a vault and people can come into your vault and destroy you, kill some of your dwellers, and it's not necessarily the best thing and it takes a lot of resources to get back to where you were. So one of the first things that you want to do, I'd say within the first 2 hours, is to actually get some security on the vault itself. Now this is going to cost you around 500 caps, but what it will enable you to do is have a bit more security, not letting some of the bad guys in. Now do keep in mind though that this isn't foolproof 100%. You will get people that come into your vault and that kill some of your characters and things, but that goes on to my next point of actually reviving some of your dead dwellers. Now you can do this for around 100 to 200 caps, so it's not necessarily the cheapest thing, and the people with more experience and your better characters will cost slightly more, but just because someone dies doesn't mean they're gone for good. You also want to make sure that you're getting a lot of weapons to give to your dwellers as well in case anything bad does happen, or just in general there's any infestations of rad roaches, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. You also want to go along with some of the challenges that you get within Fallout Shelter, as this is the best way to get some extra caps and also some lunch boxes. Now what a lunchbox is basically a pack that has a lot of things in it that are going to come in handy. It's going to come with 4 to 5 cards, and what they are is they're basically some points that you're going to be getting. So you may get some extra water, you may get a new vault suit, you may also get a brand new dweller that's kind of rare and one that you need to actually collect. There's a lot of collectibles within the game itself, and there's actually a section in the game where you can look at everything that you've collected, whether that's weapons, suits or dwellers, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. You want to kind of keep an eye on these smaller things as they will help in the long run. But to be honest guys, that's pretty much all the help and advice that I can give, and it's down to you to actually play the game and see which playstyle works best for you. Now there's plenty of tutorials out there on YouTube, but if you do want to share this with all of your friends to get them into the game and just in general to be able to help each other out a little bit more, then by all means hit that share button down below, spread it across social networks and share it with friends and family. If you guys enjoyed this video or you've got any tips and tricks of Fallout Shelter, be sure to leave them in the comments section down below, on Google+ or on Twitter at Copper vs Glass. Now one thing that I would say guys is this is a free to play game, but one thing that I like is the fact that there's not really a lot of in-app purchases and you can actually get through the game relatively easy without having to buy anything. It's just a matter of keeping to the points that I've gone over in this video to get the best out of your vault and hopefully nothing goes wrong. If you guys want to get some more great content from Copper vs Glass, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm Michael from Copper vs Glass. I'm going to go back into my vault and I will catch you guys in the next video.